Well, good morning and welcome to another Specimen Series. It's slightly different on this episode. I always like to think the series as a reflection of my own fishing. And as we move into April, I like to do a little bit of fly fishing. And the venue I'm at today is a real treat for me. My good friend Andy, he invites me here now and again as a treat. The trout fishing is excellent. It's a nice big estate lake. I can't say too much about where it is. It's a top secret location, isn't it, Andy?
Indeed, yeah, keep it quiet.
But the trout fishing, it's all catch and release. They're really big trout. It's normally really good fishing despite these bright conditions. I've got a feeling we'll find one or two fish, won't we?
We'll catch a few.
Good. So we're eager to get in those boats, see if we can find some. Most of it's sight fishing, really clear water. I'll talk about the methods we're using a bit later on, but I want to get in the boat and try and find some fish. Well, when it comes to locating the trout, it couldn't be simpler due to the fact the water is so clear. With a decent set of Polaroid glasses, once we get on the water in the boat, you can spot the trout and it's all sight fishing. Now you may notice that Andy is much more competent at fly fishing than me. He does a lot of fly fishing and I learn lots from Andy, so his casting and his ability is definitely better than mine, but it's really good to learn from him and he's great company on this trout lake. Got one. We're in. That came out the blue. That did. I didn't even see him. Well, a quick change over to a more aggressive lure pattern of fly. Stripped back fairly quickly. And I watched this fella come up next to the boat and didn't see this one coming, but here we are. A lovely rainbow, that one. Perfect. Well, that is super exciting. Stripping those lures back fairly quickly and watching these in the clear water chase after them and wallop them. Well, if you like lure fishing, you'll love trout fishing. And believe it or not, this is an average size for this lake. They are like bars of soap. I think Andy will confirm that with me, but we will try and lift it up quickly. We don't mess about with the trout. I might just lift him in the boat. We'll have a quick look and get it back as soon as we can, because it is all catch and release here. But how about that for a hard fighting rainbow trout? But let's get him back. I'm itching to cast out because there's trout twice as big as this that have been chasing my fly. I think he's fairly well rested. He hasn't been out of the water long. There we go. More than happy. Let's get casting again. To start off with, the method I was using was to use bigger lure type flies and try and get an aggressive reaction out of the trout. So they're a bit more difficult to cast, but stripped back really quickly can really fire those big trout up. Get another follow. What? He's half interest. He's a big fish, that one. I noticed over my shoulder that Andy caught a really nice chunky rainbow trout on a tiny little buzzer, so I decided to follow suit. Wait, I'm away. Well, a quick change of tactics. I saw Andy catch one on a buzzer, just drifting them on the wind, just suspending those buzzers mid-water, and that's what they're feeding on. I've seen a few little insect cases floating on the top. And for the want of a better expression, match the hatch. Seems to be working today. And this one's really hanging on. I am on a barbless hook as well. It does make it a bit easier to unhook them. And if you keep the line tight, you're normally okay. Famous last words. I'm taking no prisoners a little bit. I have got a 10-pound tippet on here because they are big fish. He's ready. Lovely job. He's nice. A little bit bigger, that one. How about that? Watching that nail the buzzer, just suspending buzzers on the drift, and then you see that float and fly line shoot forward when they grab hold of it, and then all hell breaks loose. So I'm going to rest it in the net, in the water, just for a couple of minutes to make sure it's nice and strong before it swims off. But what an incredible place to try your hand at a bit of fly fishing. He's happy. I always get super excited when Andy invites me to this very special venue. I guess you could describe it as if Carlsberg did trout fishing. There's so many big trout, it's a beautiful venue, the water's so clear, it's really exciting fishing. Getting a follow. Eat it. Oh, he just swiped at it and missed it by a millimetre. And again, go on, got him. Yes, brilliant. He missed it twice and then right next to the boat. Look at him. He's unusually calm for a fierce rainbow trout. He's quite a big one again. I'll take advantage of him behaving and get him straight in the net. Whoa, and now he goes mad. Lovely job. Well, that was pretty awesome. That one grabbed the lure type fly again, right near the boat, chased it all the way in and absolutely engulfed it. And I'm just letting it rest in the net for a minute, just to get its strength back before I let it go. But I'm going to reposition the boat in a minute. I'm going to talk you through the two methods that I'm using. I've got two different rods set up. One's on a buzzer, one's on what I mentioned, a lure type fly. And we'll show you exactly how to work those flies. But let's pop this fella back. I think he's ready to go. Another big old rainbow trout. I'm not sure how big it is, but certainly pulls your arm off on these fly rods. You're probably ready, mate. He's happy enough. Well, let's talk a little bit about how I'm working these flies. I've got two setups, and the one that I've caught the most fish on so far is what I call the lure type fly. So it's a big fly that they can't miss, and it's got a weighted head. And that's cast out on an intermediate line, so that line will slowly sink. Then I'm stripping them back quite quickly. So you're moving them quite aggressively through the water, like you would a lure when you're pike fishing, trying to get a reaction out of those trout until they absolutely clobber it. And then down here I've got another setup, which I haven't used loads of. I've had one fish on it so far. I'm sure I'll do some more of this later. And I've got a little buzzer on there. Now buzzers, if you look at them, they don't look like much at all, but they match the little buzzers that are rising up out of the sediment on the bottom of the lake, and that's what the trout are feeding on. So that's on a floating line, and me and Andy have found a method here where we just put 4 to 5 foot of fluorocarbon off the floating line, so the floating line will drift across the surface, suspending that off the bottom in the eye line of those trout, and they grab onto it, the line whips up tight, and it's absolutely brilliant. So they're the two methods that I'm using today, the lure type fly setup and then the buzzers. Well, it was great to have some company on Specimen Series for once, and I couldn't ask for better company picking up a fly rod. Andy is a real keen fly angler, and I noticed him playing another nice rainbow trout behind me, making it a really good morning's fishing. There's another one, there's a big one there. God, it's the biggest one I've seen today. Oh, 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 oh! I put it in really quick. There's one bow waving after it. There's 2 minutes to choose from now. Come back, matey. Here we go, we're in. Just as I twitched, that's a nice one as well, nice big dark fish. Just as I twitched it, he walloped the buzzer. So after they ignored the lure for a little while, I change over at the buzzer again, keep swapping techniques just to get these trout to react. Another nice one. Got a fly line everywhere in the boat. Get in. Whoa, he's off. He's not happy. He is lovely. Yeah. That was a good one. That was a good fight, that one. And another huge rainbow trout. But it's about finding what they want today. They were looking at the lures and following them a few times, but there was quite a few fish round the boat, so a change to the buzzer, a slower presentation, and this lovely rainbow trout has nailed the buzzer. So I'm going to lift it in. We'll have a quick look. They are magnificent trout. I am spoilt rotten being able to come here. I like to keep these out of the water as little time as possible. It is all catch and release here, and they are very, very lively. But how about that for a magnificent rainbow trout? I'm going to pop it back. I can see over my shoulder that Andy's playing what looks like a good fish. So we'll slip this one back and we'll go and see what Andy's got. He's definitely ready.
Right, so while Phil was playing his fish, I changed tactics a little bit. The fish seemed very deep, so I put a tiny little gold-headed nymph on with a longer leader, dropped it down in front of this lovely fish, a lovely dark rainbow, which is quite lively, as you can see. This water is still quite cold, so it's well oxygenated, and these fish are very lively. This one's had a good rest as well, which means it's even livelier. But look at that. Beautiful dark coloured rainbow. I thought it was a brown trout at first. It was sitting very deep. I dropped the nymph on its head, and sure enough it went for it. What a beauty.
Well, since we had a bite to eat at lunchtime, the fishing's been quite tricky. I had one near miss stripping the lure back quite quickly. He had a snatch at it, but just missed it. So whilst the fishing's slow, I'm going to take a few minutes just to talk you through the setups that I've got here for my fly fishing. So I've got two rods. They're both Witchwood flow rods. And this is the lighter of the two. This is the 6-weight with a little 6-weight reel, and obviously a 6-weight line on there as well. And this is a weight forward floating line. It's really nice to cast this one because I've got a little tiny buzzer on there. It casts like a dream, and with that floating line, rather than a tapered leader on this one, I've just got straight 10-pound fluorocarbon, and I'm hanging that buzzer off the floating line and just letting it drift round in an arc until they grab hold of it. And the second setup, this is a 7-weight, the same rod and reel, the same Witchwood flow rod and reel, and I've got a clear intermediate line in there in a 7-weight. And I've got a tapered main line that goes down to 10-pound at the bottom because they are big trout, and then that's got that lure type fly on there. So this is the one that I strip back quite quickly and try and get their aggressive side going. And it's been great fun getting a few on that. That's probably been the most productive message today. They're not really in a feeding mood, but you can sometimes irritate them into grabbing the fly. So a bit trickier to cast this one. I'm not a brilliant caster when it comes to fly fishing, but they're the two setups that I've been using today. The fishing definitely got a lot more challenging in the afternoon, but I had noticed a couple of really big fish around the boat, one fish in particular, and I stripped some lures past it quite quickly, and it would follow it sometimes but wouldn't react enough to grab hold of it. But I persisted through the afternoon. I'd had a brilliant day's fishing, but I really wanted to try and catch one of those really big ones before it was time to head home. Well, it's been super tough this afternoon. Me and Andy have gone through the fly box a little bit, trying lures, trying buzzers, little nymphs, and we're seeing a few fish, but we just couldn't get one fired up to attack the fly. But at last I've hooked one, so hopefully I can get this one in. It is later in the afternoon, we're hanging it out a bit. It feels like a heavy fish, so I'm going to concentrate. I'm going to try and get this in, and that'll be a lovely end to the day. Blimey, he's strong. You can play them on the reel if you like, but I find you can retrieve the line a bit quicker by just stripping it through your fingers. Oh, here's a big fish. He's trying to get under the boat. Uh-oh. Here it comes. Go catch it there. Just salmon swoop that one because I really wanted that one in the net, but that is a massive rainbow, that one. Well, there we go. Thank you so much, Andy. I didn't think we were going to get one more, and this is probably the biggest. That's got to be a double figure rainbow, hasn't it?
Biggest of the day.
On the tiniest of buzzers. So we're going to get it back really quick, but let's just lay him on the mat down there. I'm going to put it in the water to give it a drink, so I don't like keeping them out too long. But I just want to say, if you haven't tried fly fishing, I've always dabbled at it, but thanks to this man next to me, he's getting me more and more interested in it. It's such great fun. So thank you ever so much. And don't forget, if you want to kit yourself out with all the right tackle, either jump on our website, have a look on the My AD app, or pop into your local store.